hooked on you, baby, you're golden. Time moves, I never noticed, just can't get enough. Got me wonderstruck.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Tom W. Metz III.
Hey, paisano! What's going on, toots? I'm trying to do my least nerdy voice ever. How'd it work?
Oh, wow. It was your most loudest voice.
Yes. Oh, the 100%.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm walking here. Podcast. Hi. Thank you so much. It is such an honor to be your first guest on what I think will be a wonderful adventure for you. And I'm desperately glad that you went the way that I was, because you're like, I'm not a nerd. I like musicals. And I was backstage and I went, oh no, no one has told Mandy. But then I saw where you went and it was perfect.
Well, I didn't even intend to go there. The thing is, I'm very mainstream, but let's get this out of the way. I was bullied horribly as a kid. I was not a popular girl. That was never me. I was a theater nerd, which is its own brand.
Yep.
Right? I think you can put us all in compartments of what kind of
that's
nerd
like a
we are.
click sort of a thing.
Oh, I finally made it into a clique. Yes. But I realize that I am not cool. That's the distinction I want to make, everybody. I'm not cool. I'm just not into the Ren Fair necessarily.
Right.
Or
She says as she
anime
rolls up yet another pack of cigarettes in her white T-shirt. You're such a greaser, Mandy. No, I completely understand.
You really have your finger on the pulse of what's cool these days.
T-birds. No, I completely get the distinction, because it doesn't mean but if you do deep dives on counterculture or off mainstream things, then that can be geek culture, nerd culture, whatever that is.
Yes.
And that connection to that for so many people has become so widespread and weirdly celebrated at parts. Like there are whole TV shows like Stranger Things that are just about, look back then, this was what geeks do, and now like our adult friends do it. So it's fun.
Absolutely. And I think Big Bang Theory was a turning point for all of this. It felt like that brought nerd culture to the fore and let people like me really see it and get to know it and fall in love with it in some ways, although they take it to extremes in other ways. But
sure.
30 years ago, when my sister was growing up, it was like, don't tell anyone, but we play Dungeons and Dragons on the weekends.
Right.
And now it's this whole cultural movement. Comic-Con, all of these things are so big. So here I am, world.
Look at you coming out. For me, the real turnaround, it wasn't Break Bad Theory, but it was the flawless, no problems, no notes movie, Revenge of the Nerds. Going back and rewatching that today, you're just like, man, they hit culture exactly right, and there's nothing to be regretful about. Okay. I watched part of that movie for something else recently, and I was like, this is a horror show.
Oh, that's a date rapey movie.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah. And hey, I haven't really specified, but I think we can swear on my show.
I forgot to ask that. All right.
Right?
Dick.
I just decided, as I said, date rape, that
right.
Here we are.
From there, you went, I just mentioned Revenge of the Nerds once, and all of a sudden, this is an adult podcast. Deal. I'm in.
Tommy, for
Hello.
those who don't know you, which is a Shondas, by the way.
What?
You and I met. You are a filmmaker, and I auditioned for a short film you were making 130 years ago.
Yep.
I got it. We did not talk or bond on set at all.
Back then, I was a complete nervous wreck on set. And
afraid
so
of
I
actors. Just
Yep,
didn't.
afraid of everything. Yes.
And then afterwards, somehow, over many lunches at Hugo's, we became really, really close friends. And now we collaborate on everything, including our lives and our families. And you really are family to me. I don't mean to start off getting emotional, but
no, 100%. I feel that way, and I really appreciate it. And I love your family, and I love collaborating with you. So this is exciting.
Oh, why, thank you very much, sir. So what makes you a nerd? What kind of nerd are you? Because we said there are subdivisions of nerdery.
Yeah. I'm not I don't know what the classifications of said nerdery are. I'm not a full board because, for instance, and this is going to be interesting because of the topic that I'm bringing to this podcast, I am not traditionally a superhero person. I grew up reading, but I did grow up reading comics, but I grew up reading horror comics. So like even for kind of nerdy stuff, I was off brand. The only superhero I ever really liked was Batman, who was famously not a superhero. He's just a rich dick who, instead of spending his money on charity, spends it on fancy belts and flies around. But I liked him because he was a detective. As soon as you became superhero-ish, I didn't care as much. That's why I have largely been left out of the enjoyment from like the Marvel boom.
Right.
When
And
Marvel
here-
took over the world, I was very kind of like,
I have not seen one.
okay.
Not one.
Okay, right.
But let's stop down on Batman for a second, because
Yeah.
I am so nerdy that I had a mad crush on Robin. And I don't mean Chris O'Donnell. I am going way back to Burt Ward.
Oh,
Growing up,
wow. Sure.
I used to dream that Robin, I would sleep. Oh, I'm
Go
getting
for
into it, right?
We gotta do it,
I would
yeah.
sleep pushed up against my wall and pretend that he was next to me, protecting me from bad guys.
Like he was a pillow, or
Yeah,
he was the wall?
I was against the wall to give him plenty of room to sleep on the outside.
Famously not needing a lot of room.
In case he needed to leap up and fight the Riddler for my soul or something.
Got it.
So
Okay.
That's
Adorable. You had
Him
a
and
crush
Peter
on.
Brady. Those were my crushes when I was, like
Oh,
6.
so you like fun size boys. That's very adorable.
Don't tell my husband, Jerry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you share a little bit of that in a different way. And then I still play video games. I think
Yes,
a lot
you
of my friends would still play video games, but instead they played a video game called Children.
Yes.
I did not choose that adventure. Instead, I'm still playing video games, which I love. And I have a lot of graphic novels, which are comics for grown-ups. And yes, big DVD collection, literally DVDs.
What's that behind you?
Oh, yeah, you can see them. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
There,
In case
and
anyone needed visual aids.
yeah. And they are alphabetized. And yeah, so I really... And I like but going back on my original point, I miss some of the big things. Like I never got into Star Trek. I never cared that much. I did when I was very little about Star Wars, like when I was of that age. But since then, I've never really gone back and seen it. Star Trek, Star Wars, I don't like a lot of pew-pews. I don't like a lot of movies where they're, what I say is like fake things jumping on the back of fake things, fighting other fake things. The more CGI it gets, the more I tune out.
Now, when
and
you
so-
say pew pew, I picture Tina Fey doing Sarah Palin.
100%.
That's how mainstream I am.
Yeah, that was actually
Ew.
my impression of a church.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, just like any kind of like laser guns
Yeah.
and stuff. When
Yeah.
it's really human or like comedy based, that's why I did like Guardians of the Galaxy. Because you
Okay.
can throw the plot away and it's actually really fun and funny. And there's a lot of fun interplay. But things like Aquaman and the Marvels, well, I didn't see the Marvels, so maybe I shouldn't S on it. But yeah, it's just, I would normally not understand what was going on. And then when it was the loudest and the flashiest, I wouldn't care. I like practical things. I'm really into character and good storytelling versus spectacle. Yeah, that's a good way to say it. Let's say that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I tend to agree, but we'll get into that when we get there.
Sure.
I like things that can actually happen.
Right.
They're implausible. Something like Pulp Fiction, which I love. It's not likely that all of those worlds would converge and
Right.
all that stuff would happen, but it could physically happen. And that's where my tastes have always been.
It's like a magical reality, almost.
Ooh.
Of like if everything sort of comes together and you're able to just sort of sprinkle a little bit of dust on it. No one's flying around, but coincidences have meaning. Everything has subtext. Yeah.
Okay,
That's
I
where-
know you weren't trying to pitch this, but how about you and me and a performance art group called Magical Reality? We
Okay.
we go on the road.
Yep.
We perform, I don't know,
Coincidences?
dances and dares and
Sure.
our own brand of cynical magic.
So it went from magical to... Got it. So now it's cynical. As long as it's cynical at the very end.
Yes.
As long as our heart is not in it. Yeah.
Right. Well, one other thing you are very nerdy about, if I may accuse you,
course.
j'accuse, we do solve murder mysteries together.
Oh,
And that's
games. I didn't even
Pretty
think about
nerdy,
non-video
like
games.
board games. So in the spirit
Immersiveness.
of
Yes.
being two people who love games
Mhm.
and
Oh.
being two people who aren't quite sure what our level of nerdery is, I'm going to give you a BuzzFeed quiz. to determine your percentage.
Oh, cool. How's Buzzfeed doing?
I have no idea.
I know they're not doing well. I just heard a podcast. I had a friend who used to be an editor at Buzzfeed, so I used to get all the behind the scenes knowledge. He has now moved on to Medium, but yeah, Buzzfeed, they just never figured out how to make money, apparently.
Okay,
after all
well,
this time.
then let's hurry up and get this done before they shut this down.
Yep.
So I'm going to ask you the questions. You're going to answer. I will enter all your data.
Yep.
A character from Star Wars. If I'm not mistaken. I know I'm mistaken. I'm just being an asshole. He's from Star Trek. Okay, so here we go. Are you ready?
Yeah. I don't even know what kind of questions these are. This is exciting.
It's a bit long, so we're going to go lightning. We're going to not take it too seriously. What a shock. When it comes to Harry Potter, you have read all the books, duh. Read the books and seen all the movies. Only seen the movies. Read a few books, seen a few movies. Not really into Harry Potter. TBH.
D. Read a few books, saw some movies. Famously
You're doing
stopped
great
because
so far.
during one of the books, it was so long in between that book and the next book, I opened it and I forgot every single character. And I was like, well, I'm done. Okay. I won't do that after every question.
You just said you famously stopped. You think we're all...
Everyone's talking
America's
about it.
Waiting with bated breath?
Well,
Which
just
one did he stop at?
Scroll down on Buzzfeed. It's there.
Okay. Have you ever spent part of your weekend reading a good book? Definitely. Yes. You're definitely, right?
Definitely.
Have you ever been to a comic book convention? That's the dream? Yes. I'm not against it. Nah.
Comic book convention. I've been to Comic-Con, but it wasn't for comic book related
Oh, come on. That counts.
Okay, then yes, I have been.
Would you ever dress up for a comic book convention? Hell yeah, I have, and I would do it again. Nope.
Does dressing up count as like jeans and a polo? Could I be Gap Man? No, the answer would be no. I cannot do that. But I don't make fun of people that do. I kind of admire them from a distance.
And you said cannot. We're going to dive into that on my next podcast about your psychological issues.
Okay.
What does your bookshelf currently look like? I know the answer to this. Overflowing. Just your favorites. It basically rivals a bookstore, and you have some of your own and some books you've borrowed from your friends. These are all the same.
That's all a mess. Somewhere between overflowing and overflowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But those are all the same. Have you ever watched Doctor Who?
No. Well, one episode that was recommended.
Yeah, but it's not really my thing? Or no?
Yes, but it's not really my thing. Sorry, I keep forgetting that you have answers to read.
No, that's okay. No, that one was good. When it comes to Game of Thrones, you love the show, read the books, you've heard people talk about it, you've literally read and seen it all and can draw a map of Westeros by heart. Not my kind of thing.
I don't like the order that the answers are in. They keep bouncing around. I saw all of the show, none of the books. Was that an option?
You love the show.
Sure. Yeah. Yes. I loved most of it. Yes.
Okay. And BuzzFeed, we have some notes for you after the podcast.
Yeah.
Your memories of elementary school PE.
Oof.
Terrible and tragic. You excelled more in the classroom. You liked dodgeball days. You were pretty awesome at PE, TBH.
Gross. Excelled more in the classroom.
Here's a side note. Although I consider myself mainstream, I will never use acronyms or shorten words. There, I said it. What is the correct number for pi?
You're saying that for our Y-I? Oh, well, I screwed it up. Go ahead.
What is the correct number for pi to the seventh number after the decimal?
Shut up.
3.1415926, 3.1416935, 3.1415962.
3.14157. Was that an option? 3.4157?
No.
Then I got nothing. No answer.
All right. I'll say 2 or 6.
2.
All right. You enjoy learning new words and their meanings. True or false?
True.
You've seen at least one of the following: Firefly, Sherlock, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and Battlestar Galactica. You more like all of them? Yes, definitely a few. For sure, at least one. None of them for me.
If I'm BH, I've seen a few of them.
Are you a Star Wars or Star Trek fan? Yes, don't even get me started, in all caps, so I guess I should have yelled it at you. Or no.
Those are the 2 options? No.
Yep. You've had your friends come to you for homework help all the damn time, occasionally, with certain subjects. Not really.
Ooh, homework help. Not really. I don't think that was a thing.
You've helped your parents or siblings with computer trouble, true or false?
True.
Has anyone ever gotten mad at you for correcting their grammar? LOL, definitely. Sometimes, yeah. I don't do that.
I don't think anyone's gotten mad at me, but I have done it. So yeah, let's say maybe. Let's say I assume they just didn't type in the text, hey, Dick, I know how to spell loose versus lose. Okay.
You have a tattoo that most people would consider nerdy, but you think is rad as hell. Yep. Nah, when I get the money, I will have one.
No.
Have you ever sorted your friends into Hogwarts houses? Yes. We took the official Pottermore sorting hat quiz together. Nope.
Nope.
When it comes to Lord of the Rings, you've read the books and seen the movies? You're a fan of the movies for sure. Haven't seen the movies or read the books, or you've only read the books.
None of these options are good. I've seen the movies, and I didn't like them.
Oh, you didn't like them?
Yeah, see, that's the problem. I don't fit in. I like some of them. So yeah, say I like the movies.
I clicked the wrong one.
Oh, great. This whole thing needs a control
There's no going
group.
back.
Yeah.
Okay, starting over. Have you ever played any of the following video games? The Legend of Zelda, Halo, World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy, or The Sims? Yes, all of them. Definitely a few. I've played one or two. None.
I played one or two.
Really?
Yeah.
As well as I know you, I would have said definitely a few.
A lot of those games are not my ilk.
Okay. You've played a video game for 5+ hours that wasn't mentioned above. True or false?
Ugh. You mean at one time? Like at one sitting,
look,
I assume?
Call your friend who used to work for Buzzfeed if you need clarification on the question.
5+ hours. Yeah, I'm sure at least once I've played for longer than 5 hours at a time.
All right. Thank you for your honesty. For your
You're
H.
welcome.
For your H.
Yep.
Do you have a reading nook in your home? Yes? No? Does my couch count?
No.
You've played Magic the Gathering? Yes?
No.
All right.
Never.
You've seen at least one Marvel or DC Comics movie, true or false?
True.
That we just discussed. When
Right.
it comes to comic books, you have so many plus collector's editions, own my absolute favorites, love them so hard, not really my cup of tea. Comic books.
Books, no, none. I own no comic books. Graphic novels are different, right?
Yes, you've made that distinction. Duly noted. The defense stipulates.
Okay, you'll allow it. Okay.
You have an absolute favorite book series that you tell everyone about, true or false?
Book series. No.
You've cried when your favorite character in a book series dies. Yes, okay? No.
Book series. I don't read a lot of series. No.
Oh, so you're a psychopath. That's what this was all just a test to find out if you had
Oh no,
feelings.
this isn't like a nerd podcast. This is just an
Nope.
intervention.
The
Oh.
psychopath test. Have
Okay.
you ever spent hours in a certain fandom's online forum? Yes, maybe no.
No. I don't quite understand what that means, but I don't think so.
Well, I think that's one of those things about being a nerd is not only do you want to take in what you love, you want to talk about it, you want to meet others who love it, you want to be a part of a community.
Oh,
You know?
not really. I'm kind of, these are like hobbies other than the games that I play with like your family or friends.
Right.
I'm not going out and like going to bar nights where the theme is getting beat up in high school.
Right, but this was, online forum. And if you don't even know what it is, then you don't do it. But there are
Yeah.
people who just want to go in and be like,
And
did
just
anybody
talk
see the
and
latest
share.
episode? Let's talk
I've
about
never
our
done that.
theories. Yeah,
I've never really done that. I get it now.
nor have I.
Okay.
You've created a Tumblr or website geared toward your favorite fandom. Yes or no?
Wouldn't even know how to do it. Squarespace. Are you sponsored by Squarespace? Can I get started?
You took honors classes in school. True or
Yes.
false?
Yes.
You couldn't wait to tell me that. Did you ever play an instrument in your school's band? Yes, I was in band and I'm proud. No.
No.
Hermione Granger is basically your spirit animal, which I have come to understand is a problematic phrase and I shouldn't have said it out loud. Tommy, what say you? Yes or no?
No. Why is it problematic? Are you allowed to say, or do you don't want to bring it up here?
It's offensive to Native Americans.
Spirit animal, of course.
Your parents or roommates have forgotten when you were home because you were quietly reading. Yes, this has happened to me. No, it hasn't.
No, this did not happen.
If anybody wants to catch us on the live stream next time, my faces are really telling a story here. You've been to an independent bookstore, yes or no?
Yes.
And finally, do you wear glasses?
Reading?
Yes, I need them to see. My vision is great, prefer contacts. Yeah, we're going to say yes.
Because I need them for reading, yeah.
You are 86% nerdy.
Okay.
Don't even try and deny it, because you have a nerd side to you for sure. You've daydreamed about attending Comic-Con and have probably marathoned some Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but who cares? You like what you like, so keep living your best nerd life.
Oh, wow.
And then I can take the quiz again. Should we do it?
Well, for WIW, 86 sounds pretty good to me. Does it say, like, what celebrities are also 86? I like it when they do that.
Oh, no.
Okay, well,
I'm
you can work
thinking
on that.
Eric Bana and Patricia Arquette. I don't know why.
But granted, you're always thinking Eric Bana and Patricia Arquette. I've seen your bedroom walls.
My vision board, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So that
86.
happened.
Yeah.
Now we are at the crucial time of the podcast.
Oh my
Why don't you tell people what you had me explore, and please tell us why.
Well, after being a real curmudgeon about the Marvel and DC universe and saying I don't like superheroes, I gave Mandy a superhero. What a weirdo I am. This is the don't have the year, probably should, but a few years ago, this was a series on Hulu, showrunner Noah Hawley, starring Dan Stevens and others. This was Legion.
Hey, Pete, play that trailer.
Yeah, Pete.
Just tell me what happened next.
Look,
I don't know. It's fuzzy.
you went off your medication.
Wake up.
Why?
We're just looking for the truth. Which you promised to tell.
I told you they took her.
Sydney Barrett, the girl who disappeared.
She didn't disappear. She took my place, and I took hers.
Wait, what?
It was her power, I think. Can you explain that?
So is he crazy or?
Continue. He believes he's mentally ill. But he may be the most powerful mutant we've ever encountered.
Can we take a break? Please?
Of course. Let's take a break. Stop. We can skip that part. Unless you think it's relevant to...
No, I mean, we don't have to.
Okay. Let's talk about it.
Look at me. I know what I am. What's that?
So what made you choose this? I think it was about 2018, 2019.
Oh, so even longer than I thought. Okay, got it. What made me choose it is, well, at risk of stepping on your toes, in a way, this show made me a nerd about it. I don't care about superheroes except for Batman, and yet I am obsessed with this series. There were three seasons, and I loved it so much. I own all three, and I watch them. What does perennially mean? Every once in a
Yearly, I
while?
think.
Okay. Well, maybe perennially. Perennially.
Oh, you like, now I know you like to learn new words and their meanings.
Right. See that? I watched them perineum. And so I don't remember the exact way, the order that it happened. Either I saw that Noah Hawley, who is one of my absolute favorite showrunners, most people would probably know him from the Fargo anthology series, was directing a superhero thing. And I was like, hey, should I check this out? To my friend JJ, Justin Yeager. And he said, yes, Legion, David is a fascinating character because he doesn't have like claws coming out of his face and he doesn't like, fart lasers. Like, you're going to like it. It's a different kind of thing. or JJ said, hey, you should really check out this show Legion. I said no, but then looked it up and saw that it was Noah Hawley. Either way, Noah Hawley was the big connector for me, because I think he's doing things on television that no one else is, except for maybe like Brian Fuller. I think this show is almost tailor-made for me. And it's about a superhero, which is crazy because it has some of my absolute favorite things. It involves storytelling. It involves non-linear plotting. It involves practical effects. It involves mental illness and discovery of what that can be. And one of my favorite, it's everything. It has dance numbers. It has real action scenes that look good for TV. It has, I think, a beautiful love story. And at its heart, it has an unreliable narrator. So you are always on your toes the entire time.
It has British people doing American accents, which I love.
It definitely does. Yep. And it has Gene Smart. Is that a good enough first?
Yeah. I'm curious, though, when you said we're going to watch Legion and discuss it, you started
and we just watched the first episode, right?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
And you started to explain, and here's how I want you to approach it, or here's you were about to say those things, and I said very charmingly and adorably, shut the fuck up, and let me just approach it with a clean slate, like a newborn baby. And so I want to know what some of those things were. How were you thinking I should approach it? Or
what I was going to say to you is, don't feel like I do at the beginning of every Marvel movie, which is, who is that? What is this? What are the Infinity Stones? What are they talking about? That this show starts you in a confusing place, but it's on purpose. I didn't want you to be like, oh no, I don't know. I haven't read all of Legion or didn't watch all of this thing. And so now I have no idea what they're talking about. You'll know what they're talking about when they want you to know what they're talking about. That's all I was going to say.
Which is not in this pilot.
This pilot,
they never wanted me to know what they were talking about in this pilot.
One of the things that attracted Noah Hawley to this show was that it's told through an unreliable narrator, and an unreliable narrator who, as a child, was diagnosed with schizophrenia. And as a result, he filters the show through that viewpoint. So it's constantly jumping around in time. It's constantly showing you different versions of events. I'm not going to spoil it, even though you said spoilers are fine. Certain characters you have met in this pilot are not real. Certain of them are complete other things. Animals are nothing. I mean, things have changed throughout. And one of the big debates during the first season is this all in his head?
Right.
Is he actually just schizophrenic and telling himself this crazy story? Which I just find fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, I dropped in to a place I love, and why is mental illness such a fascinating, rich topic, and why is a place like an insane asylum so appealing as
the Clockworks
setting.
facility? Yeah,
I mean, really, that says a lot about you and me, frankly. But you know, the first 10 minutes are more Girl Interrupted Cuckoo's Nest,
right?
And I was thinking, I thought this was a superhero thing.
Right.
But this is not. And then just a cool, I guess the kids call it an Easter egg. They are getting their pills, and we get one quick shot into the pill cup, and they are not pills. They are some little octagonal, futuristic looking thing.
Right.
And that was it. That was the only thing in the first 10 minutes that I wrote, that this is not a supernatural story.
Right. Something's not. Yeah. And you saw in the beginning, like watching David in that montage growing up, and then starting to see like people screaming around him, and he's lighting fires. Like he was always sort of a troubled youth.
Right.
But yes, there was nothing necessarily otherworldly or magical or supernatural about it until a little bit later in the show, which I think is really interesting.
So at minute 24, there's this huge change. They go from this thing that could happen, where everything is in this insane asylum, and then almost as if the director yelled cut, the guy who's interviewing him walks out, and it looks like a set. They're in a swimming pool of a weird building.
Yeah.
And we see all the lights and crew, but they were in stormtrooper uniforms.
Yep.
Like, what? I don't understand what I was watching, but it was a very cool reveal.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's Division 3. You will learn. Those are the bad guys.
Okay.
At
Yeah,
least
well,
during
yeah.
season 1. Yeah. And what they are, David, was told that he was schizophrenic, and he eventually, because he was seeing so many unexplained events and voices, he attempted suicide and was admitted to the Clockworks Hospital. That's where he meets the love of his life, Sid, a woman that cannot be touched. That's where he meets Aubrey Plaza, Lenny, and
he's accused of killing her, or at least knowing how she died. That's what they're grilling him about, right?
during the weird explosion after he kisses Sid. And they switch bodies. Yes. But the thing, what Division 3 knows that he doesn't know is that he is potentially in the lore of mutants, which I guess are X-Men. I don't know if bad guys are X-Men too. I'm not sure. But in this mutant world, he is like potentially the most powerful mutant of all.
Hello.
He's got teleportation, telekinesis. He can make anything happen and do anything, except he's just been told that he's crazy.
Crazy. Right.
All the time. One of the neat things, I never got anything out of it. Again, I just like Batman because apparently I wanted to be a capitalist. But like, one of the things about superheroes that give, say, to use that word, nerdy kids, is what makes me different actually makes me powerful, not to be.
Absolutely.
And this pushes it. What if my mental problems, my mental illness, my anxiety, my paranoia is actually a power and a gift? Yeah. That's a neat way to take it, and is so much more, in effect, practical than it's cool. I'm going through puberty, so that's okay that lasers are shooting out of my feet. Like, this is more something that I, as someone who suffers from anxiety, this is something that I would find more appealing.
Right. Now, you touched on something, and I'm going to get deep. Everybody forgive me.
Oh, boy.
Pete, you can play some swelling music. No, please
no.
Don't. Okay, so kids who watch superheroes might be kids who are feeling helpless and alienated in school, and this makes them feel empowered. What if I could do these things?
Right.
Right? And it's interesting because as a kid, I had none of that, even though I was horribly bullied. But my superpower, and I'm not making a joke, was musicals. I found my talent. I found the thing that got me attention and praise, even from Jeff Walsh, the most popular boy in school, who I was madly in love with. Yep. Jeff, if you're out there, I was so in love with him, and he was like, oh my gosh, I saw you in the show. Wow, you can sing. And it made me feel on top of the world. And yes, I can sing, and I'll sing later in the series, whatever. Yeah. But
is that why you kept buying him a Robin costume every Halloween?
That's a creepy closet he has. I'll tell you that right now. Each year, they just get slightly bigger. Yeah.
Slightly bigger and yet shorter. Bigger yet tighter. Yeah. I don't remember Robin wearing just straight up leather, and you're like, it's in there. It's canon.
Yeah, just don't worry about it. But so I wonder, I didn't feel the need to escape through superheroes because I had my escape and I had my empowering thing.
But I would also posit that musicals takes life and makes it magical. That in addition to you being able to show off your talent, you're also kind of, even subconsciously, dreaming of a world where problems can be solved during a musical number, or everyone is singing together, is working in harmony. Like, there's something, that's what's really beautiful about musical, is it, unless it's just memories, it's a lot of people all working together for a common cause.
I feel like you're just basically begging me to sing at this point. Is that what I'm picking? Am I picking up what you're putting down?
No.
I wrote that, wait, where did I write it? Because this was good stuff. Right. Okay, so at 28 minutes in, he's in the kitchen and all the utensils start flying out of the walls and everything is going around. And that's a bit where I shut down to it because that could not happen in real life. Up until then, technically, you could be in Division 3 and have bad guys keeping you captive and staging things for you. That could happen. But once the kitchen goes flying, I was turned off by that. And then I was wondering, I said, Mandy, that's my name. What is it about this? And it's, why do things that aren't realistic turn you off like this when you love musicals? And musicals are completely unrealistic. People don't burst out into song except me.
But those are two different kinds, though, you're right, of altered reality.
Mm-hmm.
One involves invisible forces. One involves I don't know, because, I mean, another way to look at that kitchen scene is it didn't happen like that. And there's actually a later scene in the series where you see him throwing things around the kitchen, and then his sister or his wife or girlfriend, I can't remember, comes in and is like, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. Like, there are multiple realities shown as different faction or trying to prove to him what he is. That's also a big part of what this whole show is. Outside forces trying to either help you find your real self or put you in a box and tell you what your real self is. And so there have been times in my life where I have felt musical-ish. Like I have felt like I'm listening to a song and almost like everyone is moving in time, and so I would maybe like to suggest that maybe there is room that it didn't happen like that. That's what it felt like standing in that kitchen when he was losing control.
Which I totally understand and respect. But if I were to continue watching the series, I would get pissed if episode 8 were saying, see, we were lying in episode 1. That wasn't real. I know I would feel like they were constantly pulling the wool out.
Yeah.
That's not a thing. Pulling the rug out from under me. But the rug is made of wool.
The rug is wool. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's you're standing on a sheep. Yeah.
Yeah. So, that's something that does annoy me in my fiction, is if it's like they just, unless they plant enough seeds so that I could have known it wasn't real, but
right.
When you just said that, I got turned off.
I will spoil this one thing. It was real. But people try to show him he is implanted with other memories, trying to make things make sense. And so you're never, but like just about halfway through the first season, you know whether or not he's crazy or not. But I mean, at one point, like all those people that he got in the limo with, an episode starts and they're all at Clockwork, and Gene Smart is the therapist, trying to help them all with their delusions. So there is a lot of rug pulling, but for me, it's not it's like a what if you were in this situation and you don't know what to believe? How easy would you be manipulated? But then the truth always wins out. And so, yeah. But I understand that could be, because that is a major, and then from the kitchen scene that you mentioned, it definitely starts going full, more otherworldly superpowers.
It never lets up.
Right.
Either. Just the storytelling style. I wrote effects, music, slow-mo. It is so stylized, and there's no breath. It just never it doesn't let you breathe. No. After that,
even with
around halfway.
Dance sequences, even with the love talk between him and Sid. I feel like this, I think it's really well, personally for me, I think it's really well paced. It actually takes a lot of time. That whole time when they're at the window and he does the trick because they're not allowed to touch, but that their reflections can touch. Like, that's a very slow scene. That they really hit her sneaking into bed with him. It's not like a Marvel movie where where there's just propulsing to the next plot element.
I guess my note was at the halfway point. So it was that section where I was like, oh my God, like, just let me breathe. But you're talking about later in the episode where I guess, yes, there was breath. But I took my note, and I think I'm smart, so I have to.
Oh, 100%. I'm not here to convince you that you are feeling wrong. I just wanted to point out that it does ebb and wave. And a lot of Marvel movies, especially now that we're in the, what would you call them, lower tier, the ones that aren't getting good reviews, the fan base is falling off. The Madam Webs, all of that it's just, there's so little heart in it. It's just content, and every scene is just to set up the next scene. There's no like contemplation.
I found myself really invested because Dan Stevens is such an appealing actor, and he's really interesting and skinny. Did he famously lose a lot of weight for this, or am I
don't
crazy?
Know. I never saw him in Downton Abbey, so I don't have a real comparison.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's real skinny. But I was definitely finding it hard to follow. Yeah. It left me with that feeling of, am I not smart enough for a show like this?
Sure.
Which, on the one hand, I hate because I do think I'm an intelligent person. And on the other hand, I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's not for me. I mean, this style of storytelling,
Right.
the nonlinear style was absolutely baffling by the end to me.
Okay.
I was with it, I had it, and then I lost it. 58 minutes in, I am utterly lost. Wait, she's not here. She's only in his memory. What the fuck? That's my note.
Yeah. Yes. And you are not alone. It was pretty highly rated overall by critics, but there was a strong fraction of critics being like, I don't get it. This is just too much style that thinks it's substance, and you're playing around too much. Yes, the first time I watched it, I did feel like I was hanging on a bit, but the sugar for me, if we're calling the confusion medicine, is how beautifully it is filmed and how beautifully it is written and acted.
Music.
The music
Lord,
is amazing. He's
is
constantly
incredible.
changing the aspect ratio. So he's playing with the entire medium of visuals in itself. He continues to do that throughout. Halfway through, the show gets a narrator. The narrator turns out to be John Hamm, and he's just straight up talking to the audience about what it's like. It has one of my favorite quotes ever when things start to get tainted for certain people in the show. What are you scared of more, fear or the frightened? The idea being that people, when they get scared, they're the most dangerous force on earth. Not what you're afraid of, but when people start to group together. There's also this later in this, I think maybe it's in season 2. And this is a version of the writing that you can look at this writing and when I read it, you might be like, ugh. But for me, with the visuals and with the music and everything, it works. Can I read a quick? This is from season 2, episode 4. This is Sid, his girlfriend, talking to him. And he says, they sell us this lie that love's going to save us. All it does is make us stupid and weak. Look at me. Love isn't going to save us. It's what we have to save. Pain makes us strong enough to do it. All our scars, our anger, our despair, it's armor. Baby, God loves the sinners best because our fire burns bright, bright, bright. Burn with me. Oh, I think that's so romantic and it's so hot.
So sounds like a Pink song. It is so Pink. She loves scars. She loves burning.
Well, both characters were doing aerial gymnastics during this scene, so it's very
imagine,
pinkish.
yes.
But that's just one of those. That's just in the middle of a thing, and that's not naturalistic dialogue at all. Right. It is hyperbolic. It's almost too much.
Right.
But for me, the whole thing is just this beautiful, beautiful world. And then the big action scene at the very end of the episode you watched looks like it's a $1 zillion movie.
Yeah.
When they break him out of Clockworks and they're bringing him to a place called, I think it's called either Sunnytime or Sunnyside. It's the good guys. It's where Gene Smart works. And it's like training and helping mutants learn to use their powers for good.
Right. Sidebar, it is actually illegal in the state of Hollywood to make a project without Gene Smart now.
She is all over the place. Yes.
You cannot do it. It's not allowed.
Yeah. That's weird. She put that in her writer.
Yeah.
I have to be in this too.
In every,
Yeah. But mean,
that was insane with it was like Saving Private Ryan. It was, I mean, it was really well done. This looked and sounded gorgeous. The acting is phenomenal, except Aubrey Plaza, who I never like. Except in Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates, the best movie ever made. Mainstream.
No, I know that from your Man Cave podcast. You guys talked about that.
Oh my God, I love that movie. And she's very funny in it. But she's not my favorite, particularly in the believability column. That's just a personal preference of mine.
You might like her in this because she ends up being a villain. She's a villain. She's playing his best friend. She's a villain the entire time.
Oh.
And you learn that very quickly. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you had said before when you said watch it, and I said, great. And then you tried to keep talking and I cut you off. But one of the things you said many years ago was that you don't need to know the Marvel Universe in order to jump into this. And I think it might be more enjoyable if you do. If you go to a concert and you're waiting for your favorite songs that you know by heart, that's a positive feeling.
Sure.
And because I don't know anything about X-Men or mutants or Wolverine or whatever you were talking about, maybe I'm missing out. Not that I couldn't understand it, because
Right.
it was what they told the story, and I understood what I could.
Right.
But I just think if you do know Marvel, you're waiting for you have a frame of reference. You have.
I guess I can't disagree with you because knowing the world and having a table set is always going to be better. I love your analogy with a concert. Yeah. I guess my only thing is just for me is I didn't have those things. None of these people are characters that I know. I've never heard of Clockworks before or since. Never Division 3. Like none of these are things that existed before the show. This show, that's why I really was going to say of you don't need to know anything because I didn't know anything. The only thing I knew was mutant.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And so, but yes, so I don't know. I bet there are huge Easter eggs throughout that neither you or I got.
Oh.
And I don't even know. Apparently, David ends up, I still have not finished season 3 because I'm savoring it because it's never coming never coming back.
Right. And it was 2017. I looked it up.
17. Apparently there is potentially a reveal that David is the son of a very big time X-Men figure.
Oh, boy.
But I don't know that.
Okay.
So yeah. So, I mean, if you'll know, listeners, you'll know after the first episode if this is for you or not. And to your credit, Mandy, the Super Marvel X-Men, Star Wars, everything. Darnell, friend of the show. It's your first episode. Darnell watched the first 2 episodes of this and was like, I can't. It's just wasting too much time. It's too stylized. It's too weird.
The guy next to me, seat 25E, what's up? He was like, oh, you're watching Legion. And he saw me taking notes and he asked me what I was doing, why I was taking notes. And I said, I'm reviewing it for a podcast. And he said, I'm sorry, I looked over at your note where you said, what the fuck? And he's like, I hated it. I couldn't get into it.
Yeah.
So I asked him, well, are you a Marvel person? He's like, not particularly, but my friend said I would love this. And I didn't. So it is polarizing. And
super
I love
polarizing.
That you love it. That's so cool that it could get you fired up. And there were things I loved about it and I could see why you would love it, but it
just didn't light enough fires for you. Yeah.
I did not go ahead and press play on the next episode. Got it.
Sure. But I'm glad that you tried it. And I'm glad at the very least, I didn't give you something that like looked bad. Like it's beautiful to look at and it sounds good. Yeah.
It's well made.
Yeah.
It's prestige TV. I mean, and as I go on this journey, I want to try it all. I want to try the cheap knockoff stuff as well as the ultimate. Spoiler alert, Star Wars is a coming. A New Hope. But yeah, I want to try it all. I just want to get a taste of every compartment of this. That's not the right word, but you know what I'm saying.
I'm excited. No, it's perfect. I was about to say compartment. I'm excited for your journey and I'm excited to go along on your journey with you because I do have, as we talked about in the beginning, Captain 86, I am nerdy, but I do have whole swaths that I'm missing.
Right.
Of major ones. And so if I can get turned on by something like that, I'm not looking to poo-poo things. I'm looking for more avenues to open.
You said swath and turned on and poo-poo.
And poo-poo.
All in the same sentence and I'm thrown.
I'm trying to get my count from 86 up to 90. I assume those are nerd phrases. Let me take the Buzzfeed quiz again. Right now.
Yeah. As we're talking about Legion and we said it's polarizing, I would love to hear from people. And the best way to do that is if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, do me a quick favor and leave a review, 5 stars, and then throw your thoughts in about the podcast, about Legion. Suggest other things that if you want to come on and introduce me to something in the nerd world, have at it. The best way to do that is that Apple Podcast 5-star reviews, and then we'll get in touch and we'll make this happen with more people. And I just want to say Make Me a Nerd is a production of True Story FM, engineered by Pete Wright. And my incredible theme song is Wonderstruck by Jane and the Boy. And if you want to reach out, aside from on Apple Podcasts, you can find me on Instagram at Mandy_Kaplan_Clavens, both with K's. And if you want to subscribe and support Make Me a Nerd that way, please do so. Right now, that's truestoryfm.com patreon.com/join. Find Make Me a Nerd. Click on it. $5 a month will get you all sorts of fun extras, and that'll allow me to keep doing this. So I guess you failed. I'm not a nerd. Tom Metz, thank you for trying.
But do you feel like you're like a percentage higher? Like, I'm just trying to break down your nerd ice wall.
Well, I'm going to level with you because I have to. I took the nerd test as well.
Oh, what are you?
I got a 70%, and that is too high for me. Just because I like reading, and so much of it was like, do you read?
Just reading. Yeah.
Can you read?
You're
a nerd.
Words? Yes or no?
Yeah.
And you're like, yes
Right.
or no? Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, I am just slightly less nerdy than you.
Sure.
But neither one of us is cool. And I think that's where we land.
Outstanding. What makes us apart from everyone else makes you and I together.
Yes.
Good.
Well, thank you so much for being my inaugural guest. I really, really appreciate it. I love you to pieces.
Absolute
And
pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
come back and we'll do a video game or a graphic novel or something else.
Or Legion episode 2. See you then.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Check out the next episode next week.